Today we're going to be taking a look at the best fifth wheel rail kit for the 2014 and 15 Chevrolet Silverado 2500. These are all going to be above bed rail kits. Here we have one from B&W. This one's going to be from Curt, and we also have one from Reese. Now all of these are custom fit applications, so these are specifically designed for your truck. That means you're going to eliminate the need for drilling holes, welding, or basically any major modifications. Now the way these work, essentially we mount these in our truck. Our side plates are going to be underneath the bed and our rails are going to be above the bed. That's going to give us our attachment points on each side so we can slide our fifth wheel hitch in and properly secure it. Now these are going to work out with Valley, Reese, B&W, Draw Tight, just about any type of fifth wheel hitch out there. You can see it's going to have the 3 different sizes to allow those to work. Now both your B&W here and the Curt, those have the smaller of the rails. I like the idea of these because these are going to take up less room in the bed of your truck. I think the Curt's going to be the shortest. B&W's just slightly taller than that. And once we look at the Reese, these are significantly taller than what both of these are. Essentially what that means is with these sticking up in the bed of your truck, you're going to have to accommodate for that. So as you're putting items in and out or something like that, you'll have to know that likely they're going to get hung up on the rails as you're sliding them in and out. Now if you don't like the idea of that, we do have several solutions available. Basically what you'll do is purchase a gooseneck. You can mount that underneath the bed of your truck so it's completely unobstructed when you're loading and unloading things. And you compare that with a fifth wheel companion. B&W makes a companion, but there are several others made to work with the Curt here or the Reese here, where you can slide it in and have that gooseneck ball stick up so you can make your coupler connection with a gooseneck or with a fifth wheel. So just kind of something to think about there. As far as the width of the rails, the Reese are going to be the widest. There's a reason behind that. Essentially, these bolts that we use to secure our rails to our brackets, these are going to be slightly outside of our frame. Generally, the Reese is a little bit easier to install just because it's easier to torque those bolts down. The Curt and the B&W, these have narrower rails, the B&W being the narrowest, but essentially what that means is when we tighten down these bolts, the frame is going to be located just below those, so it makes tightening them a little bit more of a challenge. Not a huge difference one way or the other, but definitely something you'll want to keep in mind. Now as far as weight ratings go, that's going to be limited by 2 things, none of which of those are going to be our rails. Essentially you want to look at the towing rating on your truck, and you want to look at the weight rating on the fifth wheel you're going to be putting into the rails. Whichever one of those are lower, you want to use that one as your max. The rails that we have here in the kits are designed to exceed the capacity of your vehicle, so use the truck or the fifth wheel, whichever one's the lowest. Now we've talked about all the major differences you're going to have in these fifth wheel rail kits, but some of the minor differences are something you might want to keep in mind. The Reese has kind of a gloss black finish. Looking at the Curt here, it has more of a matte black finish. This is going to look very similar to a lot of the trim that you see in the trucks. I think both the black ones are going to blend in really well with the sprayed in bed liner as well. The B&W, it definitely stands out. You can definitely tell a B&W product. It's got a nice glossy gray powder coat finish. This tends to be a very resilient finish, just like what we get with the Curt. Now something to think about, and it really doesn't matter which kit that you choose, but the way the bed's prepared is going to change the way your install is going to work. For a painted steel bed or for a spray-in bed liner, these can install just right on top of it. If you have a drop-in bed liner, you're either going to have to remove that bed liner or you'll have to cut rectangles in it to allow our rails to fit up through. The only thing that kind of discourages me from doing that is when you're sliding your pins through to connect the fifth wheel to your rails, sometimes that drop-in bed liner will get in the way. Now as far as which one's going to be the right one for you, there's not huge differences in each one. They're designed to do a job, they're custom fit, so they're designed for your application. I think as far as looks quality, personally, I like the B&W, like that it's made in the USA. It's just going to stand out versus a lot of the other ones out here. As far as ease of installation, I think the Reese is going to be the one to go with just because our bolts are going to be a little bit, or the nuts anyway, are going to be a little bit easier to get to and tighten down. that's going to complete our look at the best fifth wheel rail kits for the Chevrolet Silverado 2500. We hope the information we gave you is helpful in you deciding which one's going to be the right one for your application.